home, every heart. From the streets to the studio, we bring you real talk, real music, and real moments. We are not just a station, we are a movement. High Power 102.7 FM, the pride of the people.
Yes, a very beautiful morning, and of course, welcome to another edition of In the Papers, your trusted guide for headlines shaping the nations and the world. It's a brand new day, and of course, as always, we're taking you a deep dive into the front page of today's major headlines, bringing you top stories, breaking down other issues, and of course, enlightening what truly matters. From politics to the economy, security, social development, we separate the fact from the noise and give you a clear insight on the stories making wave. My name is Florence Ibarema, and with me on this ride is
Inioluwa Adekoya.
Yes, we shall be looking at different headlines coming to you from the Hope newspaper this morning. We have headlines from the Guardian newspaper. We have headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning. We also have headlines from
The Daily Post newspaper, the Punch newspaper, the Nation newspaper, and the Hope newspaper.
We would go on a short break right about now. When we come back, we start with the major headlines for this morning. Yes, glad to have you back. The program is still in the papers on your darling station, iPower 102.7 FM. And of course, this is a press program that will bring to you major headlines, breaking stories happening across and beyond Nigeria. And of course, beginning from the Hope newspaper this morning, where we have this headline that says, Ayedatiwa urges APC unity once against internal division.
And still taking headlines from the Hope newspaper, of course, talking Mother's Day, Ekiti. Talking Mother's Day, of course, on the Hope newspaper, 2026 Mother's Day celebration, women vital to church mission, says Bishop Arugundade.
Yes, still taking headlines from the Hope newspaper this morning, where we have Remember Me for Selfless Service. Fashoroti says at 100.
Still taking headlines from the Oak newspaper, talking Ekiti. 3 dead in Boesti convocation after party stampede.
Yes, still taking headline from the Hope newspaper this morning, where we have Ondo CG frees 13 inmate others treatment from ailment detainees.
Still on the Oak newspaper, NYSC still key to national unity, says DG.
Yes, still on the Hope newspaper, talking on those state this morning, police arrest a prophetess, fake midwife over death of mother, babies in Ondo.
Quickly to the Daily Post newspaper, Governor Alia urges JAMB to reschedule exams for abducted UTME candidates.
Yeah, still talking JAMB from the Punch newspaper now. We have JAMB releases over 1.8 million UTME results nationwide.
Still on the Daily Post newspaper, Nigerian father of 3 found dead in UK apartment.
Yes, still on the Punch newspaper this beautiful morning, we have Turkey to establish military training facility in Nigeria.
Still taking headlines from the Daily Post newspaper, ADC slams federal government's integration plan for insurgents as dangerous softness.
Still on the pages of the Punch newspaper this morning, where we have SANU reject federal government's 30% offer.
Still on Daily Post newspaper, former NFA chairman Ibrahim Galadima dies at 75.
Yes, still on the Punch newspaper this morning, Obo Rewari wins a Best Governor Award at Independence Anniversary.
CTAD condemns MBC directive on broadcasters, and that was from the Daily Post newspaper.
Yeah, talking 2027 battle line, APC may scrap consensus plan in Flashpoint states.
Still taking headlines from the Daily Post newspaper, Nigeria bleeding from within. Peter Obi alleges 34.44 trillion naira missing revenue.
Away from the Punch from my end and now to the Nation's newspaper, where we have Makinde to unveil preferred successor next month.
Quickly back to the Punch newspaper, El Rufai alleges plot to store release.
Yes, so still on the Nation's newspaper this beautiful morning, we have cow prices hit 2.5 million naira,
and
higher than used cars butchers lament.
And finally, on my end, on the Punch newspaper, federal government votes 1.4 billion naira for Boko Haram terrorist trial.
Yes, lastly, we have this from The Guardian, where we have election data at risk as hackers owe to government agencies bank to ransom.
Yes, and with that, we'll take another short break. When we get back, we'll give you news making rounds in the papers. Stay locked into iPower 102.7 FM, and the program is still in the papers. Yes, glad to have you back. Like we said earlier, the program is in the papers, coming to you from the stables of iPower 102.7 FM. Beginning on the top of the list of our news this morning from the Home newspaper, 2026 Mother's Day celebration. Women vital to church mission, says Bishop Arugundade. And now to the details. The Catholic Bishop of Ondo Diocese, Most Reverend Jude Arugundade, has described women as indispensable partners in the mission of the church, urging them to remain committed to evangelism, service, and upbringing of the children in faith. Arugundade made this known during the 2026 Mother's Day celebration held at the Sacred Heart Cathedral, where the Catholic Women Organization CWO also launched a 50 million naira fundraising drive for the purchase of a coaster bus. Speaking at the event, the bishop noted that the mothers occupy a special place in the biological structure of human existence and play a critical role in human development. According to him, women are divinely created to nurture, care, and show compassion, stressing that they must be honored both in church and in the society. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Herb newspaper with the headline 2026 Mother's Day Celebration. Women vital to church mission, says Bishop Arugundade.
Yes, still on the Hope newspaper this morning, where we have Ayedatiwa urges APC unity once against internal division. Now the details. Governor of Ondo State, Honorable Lucky Ayedatiwa, on Sunday moved to calm the quiet within the All Progressive Congress APC, urging party leaders to pacify aggrieved members following the recent concluded Congress across the state. Ayedatiwa made the appeal at a stakeholders meeting. Stakeholders meeting of the APC's Southern Senatorial District held in Ore Odigbo local government area of the state, where he acknowledged that although the exercise was largely peaceful, some pocket of dissatisfaction followed the allocation of party position. It described the gathering as a first stakeholders meeting after the ward local government, state and zonal congresses, noting that it formed part of effort to decentralize the quarterly meeting previously held in Akure. The governor admitted that some members had expressed a displeasure over their inability to secure certain position, stressing that such outcomes were inevitable as only one person could occupy each office. According to him, while the issue were minimal, some aspirants felt entitled to positions such as chairman or secretary, but were not successful, reiterating that party offices could not be shared. Ayedatiwa urged leaders at senatorial, local government and ward levels to reach out to those affected, commending them for maintaining peace despite disappointment and appealing for continued understanding. For details of that story, see the Hope newspaper with this headline. Ayedatiwa urges APC unity once against internal division.
Yeah, still taking headlines from the Herb newspaper, talking Ekiti. 3 dead in Boesti's convocation after party stampede. And now to the details. 3 people, including a female student of Bamidele Inioluwa University of Education, Science and Technology, Boesti, who had celebrated our convocation on Saturday, the 18th of April, have been confirmed dead following a stampede at the convocation after party held in a popular hotel in Ikere, Ekiti. The tragic incident was said to have occurred late Saturday night during the event, while reports of the development emerged on Sunday morning. According to preliminary accounts from eyewitnesses, the situation began when a large crowd attempted to move from one section of the venue to another, leading to a stampede. One of the Students' Union executive of the institution institution would confirm the incident. Newsman disclosed that the school management, alongside the students' union body, visited the state specialist hospital on Sunday, the 19th of April, to check on some of the injured graduates who survived the unfortunate incident. A senior official of the university who spoke on condition of anonymity also confirmed that the Vice Chancellor, Professor Andrew Omojola, visited the hospital yesterday. The official further revealed that the matter has now been taken by over the police for investigation. However, when newsmen visited the hospital for confirmation, a member of staff disclosed that the survivors had already been treated and discharged. Authorities are expected to issue an official statement after the identities of the deceased are formally confirmed and their families notified. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the old newspaper with the headline, Ekiti, 3 dead in Bowesti's convocation after party stampede.
Yes, of course, still on the headlines for this morning, where we have Remember Me for Selfless Service. Fashionati says at 100. Now the details. The leader of the Pan-Yoruba socio-political group Afenifere, Pa Ruben Fashionati, has said he hopes to be remembered for his sincere service to society. Fashionati made this known while speaking with News Agency of Nigeria at his residence in Akure at the weekend. He said that he would like to be remembered as a man who gave his all in leadership and lived a clean life. According to him, these principles have sustained him over the years. Fashionati, however, urged future generations of Nigerians to be selfless and dedicate themselves to serve their communities. The Afenifere national leader also advised political leaders to be less self-centered, shun corruption, and pursue wealth with moderation. He also noted he spoke on the challenge facing the country, urging leaders to be open-minded and receptive to other people's ideas. He also spoke on life lesson, which he said taught him not to be overly trusting and also be prepared for surprises. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Hope newspaper this morning with this headline. Remember me for selfless service. Fashionati says at 100.
Still on the Oak newspaper, NYST is still key to national unity, says DG. And now to the details. The Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, Brigadier General Olakunle Nafiu, has said the scheme remains central to the Nigerian unity since the end of the Civil War. Nafiu stated this during an interview with newsmen in Abuja. He said that as the scheme marks its 53rd anniversary on the 22nd of May, its contributions to national integration and youth development remain significant. It traced the origin of NYSC to aftermath of the Nigerian Civil War, describing it as a deliberate policy response aimed at rebuilding the nation. According to him, the scheme formed part of the government's broader reconstruction agenda anchored on reintegration, rehabilitation, and reconciliation. He further explained that graduates were deliberately deployed outside their states and regions to promote cultural exchange and national understanding. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Old newspaper with the headline, NYSC is still key to national unity, as DG.
Yes, still on the pages of the Hope newspaper this Monday morning, where we have Ondo CG frees 13 inmates, others treatment of ailment detainees. Now the details. The Chief Judge of Ondo State, Justice Olusegun Odushola, has ordered the release of 13 awaiting trial inmates at the Olokuta Medium Security Custodian Center in Akure as part of effort to decongest correctional facilities and promote justice delivery. The release was approved during the Chief Judge routine visit to custodian centers across the state, a process aimed at reviewing cases of inmates, especially those awaiting trial for prolonged period or held under questionable circumstances. Speaking during the exercise, Justice Odushola said the visit underscored the judiciary's commitment to fairness and justice, noting that system might not be solely focused on conviction. He said, and I quote, it is one of my routine duty to visit correctional centers in the state. Many facilities, especially in Nigeria, old people are waiting trial for years. The visit allows us to review such cases and, where necessary, order their release or grant bail, he said. He added that the exercise was not ceremonial but backed by law and intended to make tangible impact, stressing that mercy must be extended to deserving inmates. Among those who released unconditionally were Sani Bello, who was freed on health grounds due to kidney-related disease, a 19-year-old Peter suffering from anemia. Others were Rashida Olayiwola, Peter Wisdom, 32, Goodluck Ofin, 23, Moses Udo, 25, Abdullah Ibrahim, 30, Akambi Damilari, 20, Kabiru Arinat, 19, Elela Monday, 45, Shagun Akin, 23, Samuel Friday, and Rashid Ayuba, 27. In addition, Ogumola Akintomiwa was granted bail in the sum of 500,000 naira, with two shorties, one of whom must be a resident of Ondo State. The chief judge also ordered that three inmates with serious health conditions be transferred to medical attention for medical attention. They include Akinwa Victor, diagnosed of schizophrenia, and accused, as well as Muhammad Suleiman Gabriel Bamidele, who were referred to the Ministry of Health for treatment. If that story aligns with your interests, it is on the pages of the Hope newspaper this morning with this headline: Ondo CJ frees 13 inmates, others treatment of ailment for detainees.
And quickly move to the Daily Post newspaper. Governor Aliyah urges JAMB to reschedule exams for abducted UTME candidates. And now to the details.
Yes, that's a breaking headline coming to us from Daily Post, where we have bandit attacked Kwara community, kills soldiers and others. Now the details. The bandit on Monday today attacked Kemanji village in Kahama local government area of Kwara State, killing scores of people. Daily Post report. The bloody attack, which also claimed some soldiers' lives, occurred at about 3 a.m., according to security sources who confirmed the development to Daily Post on Monday. Report says security agencies comprising of the Nigerian Army and local vigilantes engaged the bandit in an intense gun battle that lasted till 5 a.m. Daily Post gathered that a few soldiers were killed during the attack, though the full extent of the damage caused by the attack could not be ascertained at the time of this report. Recall that the bandit recently invaded Woro and Nuko community in Kahama local government area, killing scores, burnt houses, and abducted over 100 residents who are still in captive. In another development, suspected bandit on Sunday reportedly attacked Ora Ayegbaju in Oboile, Ekiti local government area. 3 brothers were fatally injured during the attack, which occurred at about 11 o'clock, while others fled for safety. The 3 injured were identified as Abdul Jarim Ahmed, Abdul Jarim Unisa, and Abdul Jarim Yusuf. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the pages of Daily Post this morning with this headline: Bandit attack Kwara community, kills soldiers and others.
Still on the Daily Post newspaper, Governor Aliyah urges JAMB to reschedule exams for abducted UTME candidates. And now to the details. Benue State Governor Isant Aliyah has urged the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB, to reschedule exams for 8 candidates of the 2026 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination UTME who were abducted in the state. The victims were part of the group of passengers kidnapped last Wednesday along the Makurdi-Utupo Highway. They were later freed during security operations carried out in the forest located in Okere Ward, Oimini local government area. Addressing newsmen at the government house in Makurdi, Aliyah disclosed that 15 individuals were initially taken by the attackers. He further explained that 2 victims managed to escape earlier, while the remaining 13 were eventually rescued by troops of the Nigerian army with assistance from local residents. He further stated, and I quote, many of the students were traveling to Utuku, 7 were regular passengers and 15 were kidnapped that fateful day. One of the victims escaped and another one escaped the following day. Today, all the remaining 13 kidnapped victims were rescued by the security agents with the cooperation of the community. I call on JAMB to look into the case of the 8 young students and reschedule dates for them to write their examination. Earlier, authorities had challenged reports claiming the abducted passengers were UTME candidates. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Governor Aliyah urges JAMB to reschedule exams for abducted UTME candidates.
We would go on a short break. When we come back, we continue the rest of the headlines for today. Yes, so glad to have you back. The program is still in the papers, your daily nugget for stories making major headlines in today's newspaper. And yes, still on the pages of the Hope newspaper this morning, where we have police arrest prophetess, fake midwife over death of mother babies in Ondo State. Now the details. The Ondo State Police Command has arrested 2 suspects in connection with separate cases of alleged maternal and infant death recorded under suspicious circumstances in Akure and Imorele. In the first incident, which occurred on April 16, 2026, one Remilekun reported to the police that her brother, Mr. Bawal Lawal, received information regarding the death of his wife, Mrs. Bawa Blessing, who had gone into labor at a private residence in the Glory Land area of Ado Road, Akure. The house is said to belong to one Elizabeth Aremu, who allegedly presented herself as a midwife. Blessing, who was said to have developed complications shortly after delivery and died before she could be moved to the medical facility. Detective who visited the scene discovered the lifeless body of a newborn baby wrapped in a sack. The suspect was subsequently arrested. In a separate case, on April 11, 2026, one Augustine Kufri reported that his 20-year-old girlfriend, Jennifer Sunday, was taken to a church in Imorele after she went into labor. The prophetess of the church, identified as Blessing F. Young, allegedly conducted the delivery. The newborn reportedly died at the scene, while the mother later died on her way to the hospital due to complications. The suspects in the case was also arrested. The police said detective had commenced a full investigation in both incidents. The remains of the deceased mother and their babies have been deposited at the state specialist hospital Akure and the Federal Medical Center morgue or respectively for preservation and autopsy. The command assured that efforts were ongoing to unravel the circumstances surrounding the death and ensure that those found culpable are brought to justice. It also advised members of the public to always patronize qualified and licensed medical practitioners, particularly during childbirth, and avoid unregulated facilities or individuals posing as healthcare providers. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the pages of the Hope newspaper this morning with this headline: Police arrest a prophetess, fake midwife over death of mothers and babies in Ondo State.
Still on the Daily Post newspaper, on my end, ADC slams federal government's reintegration plan for insurgent as dangerous softness. And now to the details. The African Democratic Congress, ADC, has criticized the federal government's plan to reintegrate hundreds of former insurgents in the society, saying the approach shows a dangerous softness towards terrorism. In a statement signed by its National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, the party said recent comments by government officials describing insurgents as brothers' prodigal sons, alongside plans to reintegrate them, reveal a troubling misunderstanding of the threat posed by terrorism. According to the ADC, terrorism should not be treated lightly or compared to family disputes. It said, and I quote, "Terrorism is not a family dispute. It is not a moral metaphor. It is sustained and organized campaign of violence against the Nigerian state and its people." The party warned that responding to such a serious threat with soft language and policies that appear to favor rehabilitation or justice is dangerous. They further stated, and I quote, "To respond to such a threat with language that softens its meaning and policies that appear to prioritize rehabilitation ahead of accountability is not compassion, it is weakness." The ADC said the government's current approach does not reflect a clear or effective security strategy, describing it as confused and potentially harmful. It further argued that there is a contradiction in the government's position, stating on one hand, the government claims to be prosecuting war against terror. On the other, it appears eager to reintroduce insurgents who have waged a war against Nigerian state into the society without first establishing clear processes for justice, without transparent standards for determining genuine repentance, and without credible safeguards to protect the communities they have been returned to. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline: ADC slams federal government reintegration plan for insurgent as a dangerous softness.
Away from the Hope newspaper and now to the Punch, where we have Jamba releases over 1.8 million UTME resort nationwide. Now the details. The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board has announced the release of a result for candidates who sat the 2026 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination on Friday, April 17 and Saturday, April 18. In a statement issued on Sunday by its spokesperson, Fabian Benjamin, the board said 1,264,940 results from 2 days had been processed and made available to candidates. The result of candidates who sat for the examination on Friday 17th April and Saturday 18th April 2026 have now been released. A total of 1,264,940 results from these 2 days are available to candidates to check and view. The board noted that the latest batch follows an earlier release of results for candidates who wrote the exam on Thursday, April 16. The board had earlier released 632,752 result of candidates who sat the examination on Thursday, 16 April 2026. This brings the total number of results to release to so far to 1,897,692. JAM urged candidates to assess their result through the designated SMS channel, maintaining its standard result checking procedure. The examination body further explained that the results released so far represent outcome for the first 3 days of the nationwide exercise. The UTME, which commenced nationwide on Thursday, is expected to have over 2 million candidates participating across various computer-based test centers. If the story aligns with your interest, it is on the pages of the Punch newspaper this morning with this headline. JAM releases over 1.8 million UTME results nationwide.
Yes, the program you're still onto is in the papers, coming to you from the stables of Power 102.7 FM. The time has come for you to call in for comments and contributions to any of the news read out to you. And the number to call is 0816 552 4699. 0816-552-4699. You can also watch us live on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at iPower1027 and on X at iPower102. Yes, and now back to the Daily Post newspaper. Nigerian father of 3 found dead in UK apartment. And now to the details. Barely a week after the reported death of the Nigerian mother of 3 from cancer in the United Kingdom, another tragedy has struck the Nigerian community as the father of 3, identified simply as Herbert, has been found dead in his apartment. Herbert, who resided in Tonabi, was said to have died in his sleep last week, leaving behind his wife and 3 young children. His family has since appealed for financial assistance to cover funeral expenses and the cost of repatriating his remains to Nigeria. According to the information shared on Sunday via a post on X by a user known as the Stress Manager, the incident left relatives and associates in shock. The post revealed that Herbert had been grappling with emotional and financial pressure following the recent death of his father in Nigeria, which occurred just days before his own passing. The statement further reads, and I quote, Herbert, a calm, devoted Nigerian husband and father of 3 young children, the youngest, just 8 years old, passed away suddenly in his sleep in Tanabe. Only a few days before his death, he was already dealing with the pain of losing his father in Nigeria. He could not travel for the burial, but he gave everything he had financially to ensure his father had a dignified farewell. That alone drained him mentally and financially. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Nigerian father of 3 found dead in UK apartment.
Okay, well, from that, and of course, now to this other headline, where we have it says SANU rejects federal government's 30% offer. Now, the details. The federal government has approved a 30% increase in the consolidated salary structure of non-academic staff in federal universities, polytechnic, and a college of education. We have a call on the line.
Yes, hello, a beautiful morning to you.
Hello.
Yes, a beautiful morning to you.
Yes, good morning. Hi, Power.
Yes, your name and where you're calling us from, please.
Thank you. This is Gero from Jimmy.
Okay, can we have your contribution, please?
Thank you. I just want to comment about the Bishop Al-Qudari, the head women and complete them, pray for them. It's a very good thing and a very good man of God. I've been following this man of God. And I remember during our massacre, the man said, because the federal government, that how many people will be killed? The federal government will wake up from their slumber before they will do the needful, before we return in jail. And we also have this month, especially in Yoruba, was able to fall. When a also man of God said that this government has tried to well, it's been easy too. So all I just want to use is that they let them continue. Justice Arigudadi has used all his effort, all his opportunity on good governance and to the people in government to do the needful. After this Bishop of South Africa, that's exactly what he did. And he died at the right age of 81. So let us continue. One day, everybody will receive the same judgment throne. Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you very much, Benro, for that contribution. Okay, yes, still taking this headline from the Punch newspaper where we have a caller again.
Yes, hello. Beautiful morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from, please.
My name is Akasa Baba Isubu, calling from Owo.
Yes, can we quickly have your contribution, please?
You see, this our government is here. Then they know right and wrong. They use wrong instead of right. Then they know peace. They use pieces instead of peace. So I will try to address our government. That's my fault. I've tried to address our government to use right. Yes. Let them use bandits. They will kill us. They will kill everybody in Nigeria. Let me tell you the truth. Yes. They invite all the school in Nigeria, both the private and the government school. If they no use computer, any school can have. Let's stop the school. Let's stop the school, please. It's my contribution. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for that contribution. The phone lines are still open, and the number to call for comments and contribution remains 0816 552 4699. 0816 552 4699.
Yes, still on the headline from the Punch where we have SANU rejector, federal government's 30% offer. Now the details. The federal government has approved a 30% increase in the consolidated salary structure of non-academic staff in the federal universities, polytechnic, and colleges of education. The move is aimed at easing long-standing labor tension and boosting morale across Nigeria's tertiary education system. The approval comes after years of agitation by non-academic staff union, particularly the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria Universities and Non-Academic Staff Union, over salary disparities and unpaid allowances. It also followed an approval of a 40% rise granted to the Academic Staff Union of Universities by the federal government. However, the National Executive Council of the SANU has insisted that no final agreement has been reached. It threatened industrial action if talks were not concluded by the end of April. In the later dated March 30, 2026, signed by the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, the government said the increment would be implemented as a consolidated non-teaching tool allowance. The directive addressed to the Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Colleges of Education, National University Commission, and the National Board of Technical Education indicated that the details of the implementation are contained in an attached memorandum. Alausa said the decision reflected the government's commitment to improving the welfare and productivity of non-academic staff who play crucial administrative and technical roles in higher institution. It further urged relevant agencies to ensure the smooth execution of the policy. SANU's opposition rejecting the agreement was contained in a communique issued at the end of a special NEC meeting held on Saturday at the union's national secretariat in Abuja, where leaders reviewed development in the negotiation process. For details of that story, See the Punch newspaper with this headline: Pay rise. Sano reject federal government's 30% offer.
Still taking news from the Daily Post newspaper, Nigerian bleeding from within. Peter Obi alleges 34.44 trillion naira missing revenue. And now to the details. Mr. Peter Obi of the African Democratic Congress (ADC) has expressed concerns over what he described as a massive revenue leakage in Nigeria, warning that the country is bleeding from within despite rising earnings. In a statement shared recently, Obi cited recent reports by the World Bank indicating that Nigeria generated about 84 trillion naira in federation revenue over the past 3 years. He, however, alleged that 41% of the amount, approximately 34.44 trillion naira, was not remitted to the federation account. He noted that the figure exceeds the combined 34 trillion naira allocated for capital projects in 2024 and 2025 appropriation bill, describing the comparison as a reflection of the scale of the issue. According to him, the development suggests systemic problems in the public finance management, which he said have continued to deprive critical sectors such as healthcare, education, and infrastructure of needed funding. The former presidential candidate called for greater transparency and accountability in revenue management, urging leaders to redirect public resources towards national development priorities. He further stated, and I quote, "It is deeply troubling to read recent World Bank reports indicating that while Nigerian Federation revenue surged 84 trillion naira in just 3 years, a staggering 41% amounting to 34.44 trillion naira never reached the Federation account." If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Nigeria bleeding from within. Peter Obi alleges 34.44 trillion naira missing revenue.
Still on the pages of the Punch newspaper this morning, where we have petrol price drops in doubt after a month's disruption. Now the decision, now the details. The decision by Iran to close the Straits of Hormuz has dampened hopes that fuel price would crash in Nigeria. The Straits of Hormuz was opened on Friday following a ceasefire deal between Iran and the United States. But barely 24 hours later, Iran reclosed the strait, calling the decision a response to a continued blockade of its port by the United States. The Iranian military on Saturday said control of the strategic waterway through which 20% of globally traded oil transit had returned to its previous state, with reporters saying Iranian gunboats fire at the merchant vessel as it attempted to cross. Fuel marketers had earlier projected that petrol price could drop from the recent 1,250 naira to about 900 naira when the Straits was opened on Friday. The spokesman of the Petroleum Product Retail Outlet Owner Association of Nigeria, Joseph Obele, said on Friday that the price of crude oil had crashed following the reopening of the Straits. Obele recalled that petrol was around 800 naira before February 28 when the crisis started, expressing optimism that a sharp reduction could be expected if the development had been sustained. For details of that story, see the Punch newspaper with this headline, Petrol price drops in doubt after a month's disruption.
Yeah, still on the Daily Post newspaper, CDAD condemns NBC's directives on broadcasters. And now to the details. The Center for Information Technology and Development has condemned a recent directive issued by the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, to broadcasters across Nigeria, warning that it could shrink press freedom and civic space in the country. In a statement signed by YZ Yao, Executive Director of CTAD, the organization described the directive as a dangerous escalation in what it called the ongoing erosion of freedom of expression and media independence. According to the organization, although the directive is presented as a regulatory move, it raises serious concerns about its wider impact on democratic accountability and digital rights. The statement further reads, and I quote, "This directive represents a dangerous escalation in the ongoing erosion of press freedom and civic space in the country." CITED further noted that at a time when Nigeria is facing complex socio-political challenge, the media remains one of the few platforms where citizens can question those in power and demand accountability. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, CITED condemns NBC's directive on broadcasters.
Yes, so still on the pages of the newspaper this morning, and this one coming to you from the Nation's newspaper. We have the headline that says, cow price eats 2.5 million naira, higher than used cars. Butchers lament. Now the details. The Lagos State Butchers Association has decried the persistent rise in the price of cows in the state, currently selling at 2.5 million naira from the 1.7 million naira in 2025. The association's patron, Alhaji Bamidele Kazim, announced this in an interview with the news agency of Nigeria yesterday in Lagos. Kazim attributed the price hike to insecurity, rising transportation costs, and delayed local ranching initiative. He said, and I quote, cows that are sold for about 1.7 million naira last year are now sold between 2.3 million naira and 2.4 million naira. These there was a time a cow was priced at 2.5 million naira in the market. Kazem said the rise in price had placed heavy pressure on butchers and consumers, with many traders struggling to remain in business. He further said that the car I bought in 2020 for 2.1 million naira is now cheaper than the price of cow. That shows how costly cow have become. The association patron lamented that cows sold for 1 million naira had become scarce in the market. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the pages of the Nation's newspaper this morning with this headline. Cow price eats 2.5 million naira higher than used cars. Butchers lament.
Quickly to the Punch newspaper, El Rufai alleges plot to store release. Now to the details. Former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has alleged a fresh plot to implicate him in criminal activities, warning if what he described as coordinated efforts to damage his reputation and frustrate his release on bail. The former governor is expected to appear before the Kaduna State High Court on Tuesday, the 21st of April, for a ruling on his bail application. The trial judge, Justice Darius Kobo, had fixed the date after hearing arguments from the council. But in a statement issued by his media advisor, Muyiwa Adekeye, El-Rufai warned of a malicious orchestration allegedly aimed at ensuring his continued detention. He recalled an incident on the 12th of February 2026 where he claimed there were plans to arrest him upon his arrival at the Abuja airport from Cairo. According to him, the episodes marked the beginning of what he termed a troubling pattern. The statement added he honored an invitation by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on the 16th of February. It noted that he was subsequently detained before being transferred to the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission on the 18th of February. El-Rufai Camp also forwarded a report published in the National Dailies on the 18th of April titled El-Rufai's Trial. Gunmen invade principal witness home. The report quoted a witness, Mohammed Umar Karaj, and alleging that gunmen attacked his residence. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, El-Rufai alleges plot to store release.
And that is where we draw the curtains on today's edition of In the Papers. We have taken a look at the major headlines, unpacked the stories, and given context to the issues shaping our society. Remember, staying informed is not just important, it is empowering. As the day unfold, keep these stories in mind, ask questions, and of course, be a part of the communication that drives positive change. Thank you for listening, and of course, many thanks to those who called in. And yes, until we come your way again, same time, same station, IPA 102.7 FM, I am Florence E. Barama.
And I am Inioluwa Adekoya.
Wishing you a productive and fulfilling day. Stay informed, stay engaged, and of course, don't forget to stay glued to this dial because, of course, IPA 102.7 FM is the place you should be. Good morning.
Good morning.